What's going on, guys? This is Ryan with the RK Outpost, and we are still over 6 months away from Amazon's Lord of the Rings of Power series premiering on their streaming service. And already, they are doing everything they can to stop the bleeding. They are desperate right now because the backlash from Lord of the Rings fans, from Tolkien fans, from everyone has been extremely powerful. And now, on all fronts, they're trying to defend what they're doing with this show because they have hundreds of millions of dollars, maybe billions of dollars riding on this series. They are already committed. And with the reaction that people are having now, that doesn't spell good things to come for Amazon. You can see the trailer. We've been keeping an eye on this. The main US trailer that has nearly 30 million views is almost ratioed. 97 up to 93 down. We give it a couple more days. This thing is going to be ratioed despite them having disappearing dislikes. Very interesting, isn't it? Sometimes I'll refresh and the dislikes will go down by about 2,000. Never seen that with the upvotes. That's weird how that happens, isn't it? Same thing with the UK trailer, which now has double the downvotes to upvotes. So when you combine these, it's easily ratioed. The two official trailers that they released on their platforms have been ratioed when you put them together. That is an embarrassing thing for Amazon, and that's one of the reasons that they're coming out and trying to do some damage control. Vanity Fair, yet another Vanity Fair article, 10 burning questions about Amazon's The Rings of Power, where they're gonna go into some details, try to explain a couple things, maybe to try to stop some of the backlash. I don't think it's gonna help very much. This is in addition to other things we're going to talk about in this video. The fact that they have an expert coming out on IGN to try to explain away what a lot of fans are talking about. That did not go over well. Nearly 3 times the amount of dislikes as likes. We're going to talk about this video and this dude's coping response when he got called out for being wrong. The Tolkien Professor who says, "Why do you care so much about being accurate?" That's funny, isn't it? We have the OneRing.net still attacking fans, calling fans racist. And of course, we have the rest of the mainstream media. But let's get into this 10 burning questions. Because we know that Vanity Fair were the ones that came out with the exclusive. This first article, Amazon's Lord of the Rings series rises inside the Rings of Power. And in this, not only did we get a bunch of pictures and things like that, first look pictures at Galadriel in her armor, where they call her the commander of the Northern armies. We did get a look at, someone like Dern, who actually does look pretty good. But of course, then you have Disa and Arendir, who have been the topic of much conversation because their simple existence kind of flies in the face of so many things that Tolkien wrote about. Because diversity and representation, we need to put these characters in there, or else no black people can be fans of this show or this series. Not exactly the way it works. All you're doing is bastardizing and changing the lore. And we'll talk about those beards in a second. But they spent time in this article bashing the fans, preemptively bashing fans, calling people trolls if they didn't agree, trying to make it seem like it's just a small portion. And then they started getting ratioed and they realized that maybe it's the majority of people. Maybe the vast majority of people don't approve with what we are doing to this franchise. So now they're trying to explain some things away. And in the midst of this, they have admitted that, yeah, you know what? We don't actually have the rights to tell a lot of these stories. And in fact, we're ready to tell the story that Tolkien could never tell. Then it starts to make a whole lot more sense in people's minds. I want to go down and highlight it right here. What exactly is the source material? We have the rights solely to the Fellowship of the Ring, the Two Towers, Return of the King, the Appendices, and the Hobbit. That's it. That is it. Nothing from the Silmarillion, nothing from the Unfinished Tales, nothing from all of this stuff. They don't actually have the rights to any of that. So likely what they're going to do instead, since they don't actually have the rights to tell the stories that Tolkien told us, they're gonna make up a bunch of shit that never happened and put their own spin on it. Oh my gosh, this takes a huge chunk of lore off the table and has left Tolkien fans wondering how this duo plans to tell a Second Age story without access to everything that happened in the Second Age. There's a version of everything we need for the Second Age in the books we have the rights to. As long as we're painting within those lines and not egregiously contradicting, he didn't even say not contradicting, not egregiously contradicting something we don't have the rights to, there's a lot of leeway to dramatize and tell us some of the best stories Tolkien ever came up with. Keep that in mind, the best stories Tolkien ever came up with, compared to the quote that we're gonna have here. We took all these little clues and thought of them as stars in the sky that we then connected to write the novel that Tolkien never wrote about the Second Age. They are making it up, which should be clear when you see what they're doing with some of these characters, that they are indeed making it up. But the way that they've tried to control this backlash is from people like this. The Tolkien Professor, the Lord of the Rings expert, comes out and basically says all these things that fans are worried about. You shouldn't be worried about that. They're completely within their rights. You know, they can do whatever they want. Didn't go over well. You see the comment section blowing him away, even to the point where he had to come out and clarify some of the things, like the first question he was asked about dwarven women. Tolkien never said that dwarven women have beards. That's just something that fans made up. Well, then he had to come on Twitter and say this. A clarification on dwarf women. Tolkien says they look just like dwarf men. He clarifies later concerning beards, Nature of Middle-earth, page 187, that all male dwarves have them. And he said they look just like dwarven men. That's why people are saying this. Then he tries to put words in Tolkien's mouth. Tolkien explicitly did not imagine dwarf women as bearded, taking that quote, not combining it with the other context, and saying he explicitly says they don't. Well, some people called him out. Tolkien also wrote in War of the Jewels, the later Quenta Silmarillion of the Nagrim and Edain, that both male and female dwarves have beards. This guy responds, I know, but clinging is just what people are doing, and doing when Tolkien explicitly did not. My question is why? Why does this matter so much to people? This is the guy who calls himself Tolkien Professor. This is the dude that IGN has come out to try to put fans in their place, gets absolutely destroyed by people who are also pointing out inconsistencies to him. And of course, the OneRing.net. We talked about this when it came out. They are a propaganda wing for Amazon. They are working with Amazon. They have all the inside access with Amazon, and they want to keep that. So they will make any excuse they possibly can. These are the people who are the ones that said respect the lore for years and years and years until Amazon got them in their pocket. Now they do whatever Amazon wants them to do, including things like this. And what this essentially says is that if you have a problem with them going against Tolkien's lore because they wanted to show diversity and representation, you're just a racist. Anyone who doesn't like this is a bigot. Anyone that doesn't like this is a racist. And that's what they put in the tweet too. On Rings of Power and issues of race, longtime Lord of the Ring or OneRing.net staffer and POC sends word to marginalized fans that gatekeeping has no place in our corner of fandom. All are welcome here except hate. And of course, they classify anyone that doesn't agree with them and Amazon racist. If you don't agree, if you have a problem, you're a racist. These people are absolutely fucking insane, but these are all the people that are doing everything they can to shut fans up in face of all this backlash. And of course, you know, you're gonna have people like this from Den of Geek, Lord of the Rings of Power, why fandom has to embrace change, and why are people so angry about Rings of Power? You will start to see more articles like this from traditional, like, garbage tier media sites, you know, attacking fans, because that is the playbook. That is what they do. And all it will result in is more backlash for Amazon. Let me know your thoughts about this in the comments below. And again, we're going to keep an eye on this. Whenever this shifts over, you know we're going to make a video on both trailers officially being ratioed. Smash a like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, share this video out there, and I'll talk to you later. Thanks for watching, everyone. And a huge shout out to my patrons. I appreciate you guys so much. Want to follow me on Twitter or Instagram? Check out the description below. You'll find links to my P.O. box and my Patreon as well. And I'll talk to you guys later.